You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's January 9th, 5:30 at the lockup police department. And by the way, I heard on the radio today that today is National Police Enforcement Recognition Day. So any policeman, congratulations, good job.
Oh,
There you go. Did you get this first time you've heard this?
first I heard it today.
Me too.
I hadn't heard of it, but thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order and have the approval for the minutes from Tuesday, November 14th.
So moved.
And,
Second.
yep,
All in favor?
Favor, aye.
yeah. And report of the chief.
All right, just a few things for me to report tonight. As far as the monthly statistical report, you have that. Had the opportunity to review that. Nothing necessarily jumping off the pages there. We did have a robbery at a convenience store. Subject went and brandished a knife. The detectives jumped on that case and were able to identify a convicted felon that was traversing through town here, and they filed the necessary paperwork for an arrest to solve and button that case up. So it was a lot of work on their part, but again, we will have a solve on that. Letters of recognition. We did receive a letter from the Branford Food Pantry regarding our annual Give a Cop a Bird, where we provide the turkeys through the generous donations of the public. We had 71 turkeys that we turned over to them for preparation and distribution. So another one of the good deeds that we do throughout the year. We also received a letter from a Branford resident for Sergeant Stan Kineski on helping someone in town with an issue that they had right around the holidays. They were appreciative of his efforts and wanted to let us know. The forfeiture report, stable, status quo, nothing in, nothing out. Report to you that we've received the paperwork and the approval for the 2023 comprehensive DUI roaming patrol. It's a grant for $40,000 that'll run through 2023. We target the high, mainly your holidays, where we do roving patrols, and we have up to $40,000 allotted. So we split that up throughout the year, put extra patrols out for the purpose of DUI enforcement and detection. And just so the motoring public also knows, when we do this, these are intensive patrols where we do stop vehicles for other violations also, in looking to detect those that may be under the influence. So we have to be active during these grant periods. So we'll put a couple cars out there at various times in those windows of opportunity when people tend to drive under the influence. So that'll go through the 12 months, and we've been doing that for quite some time. As far as some capital items, our vehicles.
Can I interrupt for just a
Yeah.
second? What about New Year's Eve? Did you catch anybody New Year's Eve?
I don't know off the top of my head if we had any on New Year's Eve. But again, that would be a high time.
Yeah, okay, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know, maybe they listened to my previous commission meeting message about not doing that. So on the capital side, the cars, as you know, we've had delays, whether it was supply chain, COVID aftermath, but we got backed up pretty much a year. So now we finally have 2 cars that are in the back garage, just needing a few little touch-up issues to be deployed. So there'll be 2 new cars. We have a third that is in process of being upfitted right now. These are the cars from last fiscal year. So we're essentially trying to play catch up again. We have 3 marked cars that are coming that should be arriving at the dealer. We had to step away from our specs just a little bit in order to get them, because if not, we would be behind the 8 ball even farther. So those still are just in raw, regular, they're not upfitted yet. That'll be quite some time. So our process is slow, but it's ongoing. Along those lines, Ford is already released, coming up for this year, the 2023. We can see, I believe it was estimated $4,000 to $5,000 increase just on the car alone.
Wow.
So with that said, we consider and look at other manufacturers and what other options we do have. The upside is we've had very good luck with these Ford Interceptor utility explorers. I just spoke with Fleet the other day, and our maintenance has basically been very good. Tires, oil, brakes, no real serious problems, so it's telling us that model is working for us. Chevy does have the Tahoe. They're a little bit bigger, but I think...
We got one, right?
We do have one.
Yeah, you like it?
We like it for the supervisors. It carries a lot of equipment. If we have to get pushed and look at something, we can consider it maybe to put a couple in for normal patrol, but they're a little larger. So we're probably going to have to just, deal with that price increase. And with that said, the budget prep starting. So what we will be doing is we'll be obviously looking at our past couple of years' budget. We'll be querying the staff and the supervisors on their needs or where they see that kind of ties into our overall goals and objectives for this year. Equipment, we're pretty stable. We'll take a good look at that. And training. We've, if you remember, in past budgets, we've moved some money around to increase our training. Well, there's some new things coming down the pike that are going to even increase our training demands more. So we're working with records and training and specifically Lieutenant Carangelo to put a more updated annual training schedule together. When you see it on paper or when you really look at it, it's a lot. So we may see some increases there, we may not, but we'll evaluate it. On the personnel side, our new recruits are up at the academy. All indications are they're doing well. That's Andrew Luzzy and Casey McCone. Again, they're going to have a long road ahead of them, so we won't feel their impact on patrol for quite some time. We are still 2 officers down. We did look at a couple certified, didn't work out on both ends. One we passed, one went somewhere else. So we're going to have to relook at that again. It's one of the things myself and the deputy in the next couple weeks, whether we run another recruit test or we try to sift through and find laterals. Laterals, as you've been hearing me say, very hard to find these days. Certified cops are very, very tough to find. So other than that, I will turn it over to the deputy for his building project update.
I just have a couple of questions I want to ask you. In terms of the budget committee meeting, I got a lot of questions from everybody last year. I think everybody wanted to at least participate in that. Do you have any idea when we might be able to actually have a first view of that, when we can have a meeting and discuss it?
Yeah, so what's going to happen is the town is transitioning over to a new budget software system, so I'll be getting the training on that soon. That's really just how we format and enter it, so it doesn't really pertain to the commission. What I will do is I will have Amy prepare some of our closing budget reports from last year. I can give you a snapshot of where we are right now and have her send that out to you to look at. Again, the majority of the operating budget, in the high, probably 80%, don't hold me to that, is fixed based on contractual obligations on the personnel side. So there's not a lot of room to play with there. And really when we look at the training end of it. There are a couple other issues that we can discuss that might drive some overtime that we need to look at. I know you've talked about fuel. I think we're kind of trending okay there. So what I will do is in the next couple of weeks, I'll put together a couple packets for some stuff for you to digest to try to help you make some of those decisions.
Right, and I will again volunteer if you need me for any of the meetings. You let me know.
You know, again, we were very flat last year.
I know.
Very flat. So I think the Board of Finance, when they see us coming last year, was pretty quick because there wasn't much there. I don't anticipate, anything substantial at this point. But again, with your input, the input of the staff, I do think there's going to come a day that we need to discuss personnel again at some point. But with the contract being out and a couple other issues, I think now might not be the time to do that. So, but we're definitely open for any input and ideas.
Right. Okay, and my next question is for the forfeiture report. I haven't heard any resolution yet to this giant van we're buying, this headquarters thing, this regional command center van. The command center van.
Resolution as far as?
When are we getting that? Because remember we got kicked out and we thought we had one and then they said, you can't have it.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
did you go on the tour of it?
So
No.
My apologies. You may have been out.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
You're going back quite some time.
Okay.
It is here.
Oh, it is here. Great. I missed that.
It's been delivered. I believe a lot of the commission members have seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last meeting afterwards. We can certainly show it to you. We are working with our electronics vendor, the radio vendor. We had some holdups again with some supply chain stuff and some approvals that we needed to get to install some specialty radios in there. So that's kind of slowed us down a little bit. Is it operational? It's operational in the sense that it provides us, shelter from the elements, and if we needed it right now, it can do that. Is it to the tech spec that we want it to be? Not yet. We're still getting through that, but I hope to have that resolved in the next couple weeks to the next couple months, depending on a few of the pieces of equipment that we're waiting for. At that point, it's going to be striped, lettered. It'll say South Central. South Central Police Services Regional Command Post. That's pretty much the term of our legal agreements. That's the name of our SWAT team. That's beginning of our traffic team. And again, it is available to those 6 towns.
Right.
And again, just another great example of everyone chipping in to share the burden on a substantial capital purchase.
Right.
That is not something that we would use every day, every week.
Well, there was the shooting in town.
Yeah, and it works out well because what we found with our other regional resources is when someone's being taxed, the other department comes and brings the equipment that they need. So all we need to do is pick up the phone, hey, I need this, and one of the other departments brings it. So we really have it down to a science now on how well we work together, how well we're coordinated, how well we share our services. So, just another one of those things in our inventory that I think is beneficial. So you will see it. It will be out there for some of our larger events, and knock on wood, let's hope we don't need it anytime soon.
Well, now do you remember when we walked through the whole thing and it was like the size of a room? And I said, who's going to drive this?
So we do. So every department has dedicated at least 1 or 2 staff members that have been trained on it that can drive it.
Okay.
There's not a CDL requirement, so there's no special requirements, although it's...
Where are you going to park it?
It's not something you're going to be tooling around a parking lot with. And speaking with the other chiefs, once we get it to where we need it, everything's finished, maybe we'll discuss doing some type of, public announcement about it. Yeah, it really is
It's stocked beautifully, though.
What are the 6 towns?
So we go North Haven, North Branford, East
Guilford?
Haven, Guilford, Madison, and Branford.
Beautiful.
And everybody's kicking.
So everybody's contiguous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yep.
And again, that was purchased with, on our end, it was asset forfeiture, and then a small amount of the electronics I transferred from our capital accounts. That was our contribution, and most of the other municipalities, all of them was ARPA money. So everyone was able to facilitate that. And we grabbed it at the right time, because now it'd be about a 28-month wait to 36-month wait.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we got bumped 6 months, no, a year.
We got bumped, they were pretty quick.
Yeah.
So we got bumped maybe 6 months or at
6
least.
months,
Yeah.
Somebody drove it here. Where did it come from?
Wisconsin.
So we're keeping it here, is
It's in the garage here,
it's
yeah.
in the garage here? Okay. How quickly can that thing be deployed?
Well, it's not an asset that really needs to be quickly deployed. So like a pre-planned event, obviously it would be there prior. But during a crisis, with the different stages of a crisis, it'll start, the other town will start bringing it, or someone will come get it and bring it to us, or vice versa, we'll bring it to them as it's unfolding and get it. But in the initial phases of a crisis, it's not a vehicle that we need on scene. It's not something at the initial stage. We will set up a command post, an ad hoc command post. It could be the hood of a car, it could be on someone's front lawn, it could be in an office, but it's more for a prolonged operation or a major crime where our detectives need extra space to do search warrants or tag evidence out of the view of the public or out of the elements. Unfortunately in our business, things don't happen all the time on a sunny 70-degree day. So this is just something, it's basically a mobile workstation and, as the term says, a mobile command where we'll be able to run a large-scale, long-term incident from there.
All right, great, thanks.
So the building project update, the Public Building Commission held a special meeting on November 18th. The commission at that time reviewed and discussed requests for proposals for construction management services, and the commission at that time voted to choose Downs Construction as CM for the project unanimously. Downs was chosen based on their extensive experience in construction of public safety buildings. The presentation to the commission was in-depth, extremely thorough. They also came in with the lowest fee proposal. So we're very confident in their abilities that we'll get the best product from their services. Downs Construction Company, yes. So our next steps on the project is to approach the Board of Finance and then the RTM for appropriations for pre-construction services. That'll take the project into the design development phase, and we'll hopefully be able to enter into contracts with both Downs for construction manager and our architect Brian Humes from Jakunski and Humes.
How do you spell Brian's last name?
Humes, it's Humes. It's Jakunski and Humes Architects.
Thank you.
Sure.
What about doesn't this have to go through buildings though?
So it has gone through the Public Building Commission.
Okay, so it's going through them first,
Yes.
and now it's
Yes. So myself,
okay.
Jill, Lieutenant Roach, and Lieutenant Corianne Crangelo have all been assigned as temporary members of the Public Building Commission for this project. So we've been meeting with them. They have oversight of some of the project, including who we chose for construction management services.
So you're all set? That's it?
That's all I have for now.
Report of the chair, is that the next thing? The only thing I would really stress to, especially the women out there, your purses. This is a bad season where people are getting their purses snatched. I've been in Stop and Shop and I've noticed a cart with the purse open and the woman over on the other side, and I've gone over to her and I said, "Is that your purse?" I said, you better watch it, because the wallet is right there. And I noticed on the report today that shoplifting is up. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's a dangerous time. I thought Christmas was, Christmas, that's when people need money. So that's the end of my report. Just to, and when you have your purse with you and you're in the store, I wrap mine around my neck and under my jacket, or I tie it to the cart, but I don't leave it. You know, I just don't, because you walk around, you forget it's there, and suddenly you're in another aisle. Well, not another aisle, but, so, that's my report. Can I have a,
Have we had any more of those carjackings where people just come and try to grab your car?
We haven't had any recently.
That's good.
Out of state.
There's been some in New Haven County, yes.
So we thought that was the same group of kids doing that, right?
yeah,
There's been an ebb and flow of the types of crimes. I mean, speaking of the purses, for a while we were getting hit with the gas station convenience stores where you're filling up your car and you left the purse on the passenger side. They'd open up the door while you were doing it, take the purse. Now what we've seen, we did have one case where you, during the daytime, leaving your garage door open like you would normally. You put your car into the garage, you leave the garage door open, you go about your day. Well, I guess the lack of availability during the nighttime, maybe you locked your car, or now that's not good enough. We've had a group that will actually go into the house during the daylight hours to steal the car, and or go into the house, go into the kitchen where most people will keep their purse or their keys on the table. They grab them, they'll steal the car. There's been a few
even
of those.
with people there?
Yep. So that is something, and so again, you don't want to. We just want to make sure awareness. Sometimes you're better off just taking those precautions. It's unfortunate, but if you just shut your garage, especially during the day. I mean, if you're out and about working in the yard, that's one thing. But there has been a few of those across New Haven County, and we did have one. And the car ended up being used, or was a suspect vehicle in the shooting. So again, I stress to the public, do not confront these people. I get it a lot when I interact with people. Well, I'll take matters into my own hands, or I'm going to go out there. Do not. I don't care how young they look, or how small they may look, or how they're dressed.
They may have a knife on them.
We've seen violent crimes associated with these stolen cars. We've seen our police cars get hit. We've seen, violence attributed to a lot of these cars. So just call us, stay in the house, don't get involved. But you bring up a good point with the purses. Shopliftings are up, that's a little bit different. But again, be mindful where it is. Do not leave it in open sight. We've had a few at the supply pond. At recreational sites where the pull-in check the lot, if they see a purse on the seat or on the back seat or on the floor, they will smash the window to take it. There's specialty tools that they use nowadays that are readily available. You're talking seconds and they're in and out. So don't leave anything of value in plain view, even in your driveway.
I think the place to put it is the trunk of your car.
Yep.
Oh,
All right. I think we
Okay.
have any citizen comments? Citizen comments are the only thing you got left?
oh. Over there on the floor.
Where do I go?
Just,
Stand over here?
you could have had a chair.
Oh, no, I didn't want to sit at the table.
Well, no, you could have sat over there.
That's okay.
Hi, I'm Greg Geraldman. I'm a Branford citizen. I'm known, I guess I'm most known for speaking at several Board of Ed meetings for the years and advocating for some meaningful change. And I just wanted to tell you all, relative to your duties, that recently there was an incident where some members of leadership at the Board of Ed and within our district basically tried to get me arrested
For what?
for making public comments, essentially. That's a simplified version, and it even went so far as to, and this is fact, it even went so far as one member saying that I threatened someone when I obviously did not. This is the kind of thing that if 1,000 people looked at what I said, two would say that it was a threat. The chairman of the Board of Ed and our current superintendent, and 998 people would think otherwise. And, you know, I just want to say that the purpose in coming here is not to gripe about the lack of leadership with other entities, with our district, with our Board of Ed. The purpose is that along the way, your police department responded in a very positive way, an extremely positive way, and it's noteworthy, and that's why I'm coming here, as opposed to writing a letter, which candidly I have in the past about other officers. What basically happened is that you had two people, two very powerful men looking to have a citizen arrested, and even going so far as to make up some charges. And the Branford police were, they were looking to get the Branford police to kind of, in my opinion, to do their dirty work, if you will. And the Branford police stood up and said, no, we're, my words, no, we're not going to do that. If these people violate criminal law, we'll arrest them. And I'm fully confident that if I violated criminal law, I would get arrested. But if I'm going there and not, I don't expect to get arrested. And I just wanted to say that I'm aware that when powerful people try to do something in other towns, sometimes the police department kind of acquiesce and say, okay, fine, we'll do it. I don't know of other instances, but I'm aware, and I just wanted to say that it is particularly commendable when any entity stands up and does the right thing. And I'm not coming here and saying, hey, wow, this is great, this is wonderful because I didn't get arrested. Am I happy I didn't get arrested? Candidly, I am. But I have a feeling that if I went to the courthouse, they'd wonder what the heck I was doing there. What is more important is that this department stood up for public comment, not marginalizing public comment, and freedom of speech. And I think that's something we should all be very concerned about. When the superintendent and when the chair of the Board of Ed didn't get what they want from the officer in charge, Christopher Cope, who is to be commended for his role, these gentlemen had a meeting with, I know the chief, possibly the deputy chief as well, to try to sell their agenda, to try to get them to get the police to do something to help their political agenda. It did not result in anything, and I'm just saying is that in this world of wackiness and it seems that the world is a little bit off its rocker. It is particularly refreshing when an entity stands up and does the right thing.
What did you do?
What did I do? I believe what I ultimately did was, I think sometimes the truth can be threatening, and I think when someone doesn't want to hear something, that can be threatening. And the easy thing is, well, let's try to chop them off at the knees. Let's get the police to do our dirty work.
Did you interrupt, or were you?
I somewhat. The truth is that I probably somewhat interrupted a meeting, although it was to ask a question that I had asked earlier and wasn't answered, because they wanted me to go back up there. But then on top of that, when they said, I'm going to be taking this to a different authority, the chair, who's a licensed attorney, by the way, Peter Burdon, is saying that I threatened him. And I think a licensed attorney knows the difference between feeling threatened and a criminal threat. I'm fully confident that he does, but it wasn't anything outrageous. And to me, the key thing is that, you know, your police department, and in particular, these two gentlemen, stood up for the right thing. And I'm not only here as somebody who's happy I didn't get arrested, because, you know, I'm sure I would have been out by now, okay, out of jail by now for whatever I supposedly did. But to me, the greater thing is standing up for what's right, whether it's convenient, whether it's not, regardless of who is trying to advocate for it. I think that is particularly, commendable, and that's what brought me here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it's nice of you to come, you know.
My pleasure.
And you certainly are the right size to threaten someone. But
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
You need a second?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.